Hi, I'm Gummy. Welcome to the first video of a series I like to call Beneath the Mask, where we look at cut content in Shin Megami Tensei games and various other JRPGs. Today we'll be kicking it off with Devil Survivor, also known as a tactical game for the DS and eventually the 3DS. So, why are we starting with Devil Survivor and not the original Megami Tensei? Because I love Devil Survivor. Anyway, let me slip into something more comfortable and we can get started. First, what is Devil Survivor? It's a strategy turn-based RPG that I'll split into 3 parts: the story section, the map section, and the battles. The story section plays out kind of like a visual novel in which the player occasionally has to choose what the hero will say. These choices can affect the endings that can be unlocked. The map is just that, a map of the area. But what's so unique about it is if you go to certain areas with a clock next to it, the player can advance the plot and the time will go forward by 30 minutes. Time is fairly crucial in the game as the player receives emails called Laplace Mail, which predict these events, telling them when and where certain tragedies will occur. And probably the biggest part of the game are the battles and the mechanics surrounding them. Just to help the players get through battles, you've got your Demon Fusion, your Devil Auction, your Skill Crack, your Manga bonuses, and that's without going to how fights actually play out. I won't go into specifics as that's not really what this video is about, but I find it really fun and challenging as someone who's a fan of both SMT and strategy/tactical RPGs. By the way, the 3DS version is an updated port of the original DS one that adds voice acting, a new intro, an extra day for some endings, and most helpful of all, a compendium. Now let's get into the meat of the video, and beware of major spoilers. There are actually fusion messages for Serial and Anael for when they are fused into existence and fused off, implying they are supposed to be fusible at one point. They do both appear as bosses in Naya and Yuzu's routes, and while Anael, with an I, can be fused to join the party, Anael, with an AE, cannot. Serial's birth message is, I am he who watcheth sheep fall, Serial the divine. Sleep eternally under my watch. And Serial's fusion message, Thou desireth power, O sheep. So be it. I shall bear witness to thy journey. Anael's birth message, I am he who treasures love and beauty, joy embodied, Anael the divine. Kneel before God. And Anael's fusion. Fusion is love, beauty, and joy. By the grace of God, I become thy strength. Fusion. There's also an untranslated condition alert message for Beelzebul's egg condition. Using Google Translate to the best of my ability, it says Sanran jotai ni narimashita. I'm sorry, I'm clearly not a native Japanese speaker, which translates to it's entered the egg-laying or spawning condition. There are quite a few unused emails, 6 to be exact. There are 2 from Kaido. Email number 10, adjacent to Day 2's evening emails. This is amazing. I heard comp users can send messages to one another if communication is successful. You guys might have more experience in using modded comps, but I ain't gonna lose. These modded comps are some hot shit. Heck, even world domination would be possible with them. Anyone's got their hands on one has that power, so I ain't gonna lose. I'm gonna grab as many demon underlings as I can and become the strongest, and you ain't getting in my way. The player can reply with, World domination, huh? I think you should let that one go. Or, World domination? That's a great idea! In email number 25, adjacent to Kaido's You There email. Did you see that? Last night you told me to give up on the world domination biz, but can you still say that after what you see me do today? I summoned a demon totally on my own, without using the comp's power, right? A demon's power is directly related to a human's merit, so the fact that I was able to summon such a high-class demon in this shitty world means I'm attuned to it. Makes total sense, as I'm the one who's gonna conquer the world. The player's replies are, is world domination actually possible? Or, dude, you should drop that idea. There's one email from someone named T-Star, which is not a name seen in the game. It's possible it's supposed to be from the Gigolo. Email number 60, between Skill Crack Tutorial and Atsoto's first email. You've been going at it, huh? You're quite an interesting fellow. I'm sending you this message to laud the efforts of you and your friends. Belder, Belial, Jezebel, Beelzebul, Belberith, Babel, and then Abel. There's more stuff, but let's leave it at that for today. I'll tell you more if I feel like it. There's one email from Nalia. Email number 62 precedes the Song of Hope variant of Nalia's final email. You've showed me your power. It seems you were dragged into the fight for the throne of Bel. Nice job. Bel is the being who was defeated by God and then broken apart into different demons. The fragmented Bels are trying to absorb one another and become whole again. If the King of Bel is reborn, a great number of demons will gather under them. You may be human, but you are qualified to join this battle. Continue to win and become the King of the Expanse. You'll then obtain the power to fight the trial God is about to deliver onto us. If we overcome the trial, humanity shall have no reason to fear him anymore. I can help you ascend to that throne. Make your resolve clear by the time we meet again. Finally, there are two from M, aka Metatron. Unlike the other emails, the subject line is translated as no title, the subject line for all of Metatron's ending emails. Email number 73 follows Nalia's invitation to the King of Demons route. The power of Bel sleeps within you. When you make use of that power, demons shall return again. When that happens, I will not give humanity a second chance, and instead will immediately destroy everything. Live true to your heart. I'm always watching you. It has been confirmed that humanity has advanced to the point of being able to control demonic power. However, it is also true that the power of Bel lies within you, asleep. When you make use of that power, demonic forces shall be unleashed. When that happens, I will not give humanity a second chance, and instead will immediately destroy everything. Live true to your heart. I am always watching you. There are two battler entries for the names Cain and Abel. Abel is character number 175 between Belder and Minamane. Cain is character number 179 between Anael and the First Demon Tamer. Both have a character model code not used anywhere else, but this appears to have no corresponding graphic, causing the game to either produce a portrait of garbage data or crash. Abel is of the human race with a starting level of 1. His HP growth is 4, MP growth is 1.5, and he has a 4 in all stats. All stat growths are 3 except Vitality, which is 4. This makes him one of the very few characters not to have a total stat growth of 16. Oddly, all of these stats are different from the heroes. Cain is also human with a starting level of 1. He has an HP growth of 6, MP growth of 2, and his stats are 5 strength, 4 magic, 4 vitality, 4 agility. All stat growths are 4. These stats are standard for most human enemies. Despite never appearing in any battle in the game, Shoji has a battler entry. Her ID is number 15 immediately after Nalia. She has a unique character model code, but it also does not appear to correspond to any graphic, again causing severe glitches when the game attempts to load it. She has HP growth of 6, MP growth of 2, and stats of 5 strength, 4 magic, 4 vitality, 4 agility. All stat growths of 4. Again standard for most human enemies. There is a battler entry for the Shomonkai founder, though he only appears in battle maps and cutscenes. His ID is number 16, immediately after Shoji. He has a unique character model code that corresponds to the placeholder hero portrait and a placeholder battle model. Yet again, we have HP growth of 6, MP growth of 2, and stats of 5 strength, 4 magic, 4 vitality, 4 agility, and all stat growths are 4. Now here's an interesting one. There's also an entry for a cut playable character named Mai. She was supposed to be a celebrity or big-time reporter covering the lockdown from her TV studio, with a subplot about the government and mass media, and act as a foil to Shoji. She was cut, however, as the writers were having difficulty coming up with a way for her to meet the protagonist and integrate her into the plot. However, her battler data and portrait are still in the game. Her ID is number 11 between Izuna and Honda. She has a unique character model code that actually shows her portrait correctly, but produces a glitched model in battle. She has HP growth of 5.5 and MP growth of 2. Her base stats are 4 strength, 5 magic, 5 vitality, 3 agility, and her stat growths are 3 strength, 5 magic, 5 vitality, 3 agility. At one point, it appears that Guri Makalo is going to be in the game. Its front-facing animation is still present in the Data Unit Devil D006 folder. There's also a front sprite for Lum, but with a different coloring and pose from the final release. She's in the D002 folder. The actual Lulum's Devil index, both in the unit list and out of it, are a bit odd, as she comes long after the other members of her race and is instead grouped near the bosses. Yamata no Orochi also has a unit sprite, despite never appearing on the field, but isn't animated. It's in folder D009. And despite never appearing on the field, Take Mikazuchi is fully animated. He was eventually used in the 3DS version, however, in one of the 8th days. All of these abilities have a description of Misette, which translates to not set. Thus, we can only speculate about their intended functionality. The very end of the skill database contains an entry for an unused auto skill called Auto Stop. It has no MP cost or stat requirements. Meanwhile, the passive skill database contains 2 entries immediately following Life Surge and Mana Surge, simply called Life and Mana. They have no stat requirements. According to the code, they would have double HP and MP respectively. In the 3DS version, there are 3 placeholder ending splash screens for the epilogues named C, E2, and F. Each screen has the word dummy written on the bottom right in Japanese, and each top screen contains a misspelled "Thank you for playing" message. In both the DS and 3DS versions, there is a dummy title screen image. The North American and European versions of this image have a USA version written under the logo. The background image used in the title screen is a crop of the SMT3 Nocturne title screen. Although the characters are blurry, these are actually taken from a manga called Yozakura Quartet, which is also written and drawn by Devil Survivor artist Suzuhito Yasuda. The Yozakura Quartet characters used in this placeholder title screen from left to right are Shiro Mizuki, Yuhi Shinatsuhiko, Akina Hizumi, Ao Nanami, Hyosuke Kishi, Himeyari Sakura, and Yae Shinatsuhiko. Ao Nanami's image seems to have been edited to remove her cat ears and add an arm on the right side. Ao's placeholder seems to be used as the white silhouette in the logo, an element not present in the final game's logo. I also found a few interesting graphics while digging through the game's test folder. Speaking of Yozakura Quartet, there's a couple of files in GUI Hero and GUI Hero Shadow that feature the character Akina Hizumi presumably acting as a placeholder for the actual hero. Also in the test folder, there are pictures such as a shot of Shibuya with some sort of overlay on it, red symbols over a pink background, an unaltered picture of the Diet Building along with other background pictures, a few pictures labeled Devil Name with Japanese text, and a picture of Jack Frost covered in what seems to be red ectoplasm. My favorite ones I found, though, are these small icons located in Data, Text, Common, Lock On. I don't know what they're for, but they're really cute. And that's all I have for now. If I missed anything or got something wrong, let me know. And today's craft is a tapestry I made of the Desu logo. Fun fact, I created the pattern for it in Excel. Not bad, huh? Anyways, we made it to the end of the video. If you'd like to watch a really good and comprehensive walkthrough of Devil Survivor, check out the playlist in the description below by Cullen, and also head over to tcrf.net for more content. It's where I got the majority of my information. If you also like to support me, there are even more links in the description. But for now, thanks much for watching and I'll see you next time. Bye!